What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the We Got Next Fantasy Football Edition. It'll be kind of quick doing this one. We're going to run through everything. There aren't as many games. Just to kind of get started with week 13, we do have 6 teams on a bye. So we have the Bills that are on a bye. We have the Bears that are on a bye. The Raiders are on a bye. The Vikings are on a bye. The Giants are on a bye, and the Ravens are on a bye. So you are missing the likes of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs. And then for the Vikings, you kind of are missing Justin Jefferson, but not really because he was already out. You're missing TJ Hawkinson. You're missing Jordan Addison, Saquon Barkley for the Giants. Ravens, you're missing Lamar Jackson. Some of you might have been playing OBJ. You're missing Keaton Mitchell for some of you all because he's a topic of conversation recently. And Isaiah Likely for anyone else that is out there that has been using Isaiah Likely as well, kind of going after Mark Andrews got injured. So kind of just diving into everything with the different picks that we end up having. And I do have some bets that we will be placing as well. So kind of going just one by one through it all. With the first game, we do have the one tonight. So I'm hoping to get this out in case anyone wants to watch this before the game starts. You have the Seahawks and the Cowboys. So for this one, I do have the Cowboys in this one. Money line is not good enough to take it. But what I would do, some people might end up being able to place different types of bets on it. I'll give you one of the bets that I do have. So one of them I have is Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, Jake Ferguson, all with 2+ receptions. And then I have Brandon Cooks for 25+ receiving yards. This is something that, as much as Dak Prescott continues to pass the ball, it should be a good chance for the rest of the receivers and tight ends to end up getting 2 receptions kind of easily at the rate that he's been going. The players that I would start, you are going to start DK Metcalf. You don't really have a choice in that Jackson Smith-Njigba and Tyler Lockett are streamers. You may or may not be able to get away with them depending on who else you have on your team. Zach Charbonnet, I could see him rolling in the end zone for a touchdown in this. So I wouldn't be surprised by that. On the Cowboys side, starting the defense, of course, you're playing Tony Pollard, you're playing Dak Prescott, you're playing CeeDee Lambs as the lock-ins, and then the other ones that you may or may not be able to get away with, Jake Ferguson and Brandon Cooks. Cooks did have a great game last week, and he's been on a little hot streak with touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, you don't really have that many tight end options, so that's someone else that you can end up rolling out there. Next game we have is the Colts and the Titans. So in this one, the odds are pretty good. So in this one, I do have something on the line, but with the Colts, I have the Colts in this one, and I think you can also do the Colts money line as well. Some people are going on the Titans side. I'm going on the Colts side. Zach Moss, you can roll out there. Michael Pittman Jr., you can roll out there. On the Titans, it's just Derrick Henry as well. So it's kind of an easy game to end up going with. The next one we have is the Chargers and the Patriots. I do have for this one, you can end up chalking up -5.5 for the Chargers. That'll get you at -110. And then Chargers, you're throwing out there Austin Eckler, you're throwing out there Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, of course, you're putting out there. And Gus Everett, if you don't have any other tight end options. Patriots, nobody. I'm personally am not. Only one would be Ramondre Stevenson. I can't really see anybody else being someone that you can put out there. So for the next game, we have the Lions and the Saints. I do have the Lions in this one. You can also get the Lions. Money line is at -205, but you can do -4.5. You don't even know who the receivers are going to be for the Saints. So that alone, I'm going with the Lions in this. I was looking at so ESPN has their ESPN bets. That's also one that I have in the background. There's kind of a lot of things that are important when you just look at the teams that are in the playoffs and the ones that are in the hunt for everything too. So it's kind of fascinating looking at that in real time. But kind of going back to the game, for the Lions, you're playing Jahmyr Gibbs, playing David Montgomery, you're playing Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're playing Sam Laporta. Saints, Alvin Kamara is the only one you're playing right now. They might even roll up Jimmy Graham in that game. But Lions -5.5 is what I do have. Over there, next game we have is the Falcons and the Jets. This is a simple one. Falcons, Bijan Robinson, you're rolling out there. That's the only guarantee that you can put out there on that side. And Falcons money line is at 132, minus 132. So I would take that one. Jets, you don't even know what you're going to get over there. You want to put out Garrett Wilson, but you're hoping and praying that that can work. Breece Hall, I can see falling in the end zone for a touchdown. So you can play Breece Hall over there too. Next game we have is the Cardinals and the Steelers. So I'm going with the Steelers in that one. That's another one. If you want to get away with it, you probably can get away with money line. You're not going to make much off of it. Then the plus minus is plus minus 5.5. It's going to be a close game. In my personal opinion, of course, my plus minus 5.5, someone's going to win it regardless, right? I don't know which way this game is going to go. It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. I couldn't tell you how this game is going to go. I have the Steelers. This is not one of the ones I put down, but minus 5.5 doesn't seem terrible. If you can get a little closer to like -3, okay. Because the Steelers don't put up an insane amount of points, and the Cardinals clearly are just looking for a top 5 pick at this rate. The next one we have is, that was a collab I saw. Dolphins and Commanders. Dolphins are at minus 5.5. I would take that one for the Dolphins. You're playing Tyreek Hill if he is healthy. Another thing going back to the Cardinals, Zach Ertz did get waived, so this is Trey McBride's show. But Dolphins and Commanders, you're rolling out there. Tyreek Hill, you're rolling out Raheem Mostert or Devon Achane or both. Jalen Waddle, you're playing. The Commanders, someone asked me this it was Brian Robinson, Devin Singletary, or Rashee Rice. And I said Brian Robinson. I know he will also get more work. So I would go at Brian Robinson. Sam Howell's another one you could put out. He's been doing good. The team isn't doing well, but he's doing good. So I think that's something that you can end up playing too. Next one is the Broncos and the Texans. I went with the Texans in this one. And then you could just go straight up Texans money line. You can get that at minus 174. Broncos have been on a hot streak. I can really see the Broncos pulling this off, but I just have some confidence in CJ Stroud right now. So I'm going to go with CJ Stroud and the Texans in that one. You're playing Tank Dell. You're playing CJ Stroud. Nico Collins, if he's out there for the Broncos, Javonte Williams and Cortland Sutton are the only ones you're playing. And going to the next one is the Buccaneers and the Panthers. I have the Bucs in this one. It shouldn't be too tough. Money line, you don't really want to go with this plus minus 5.5. So that's something to think about for anyone out there. Panthers, only one is Adam Thielen. For the Buccaneers, you can go with Mike Evans. He's been on a touchdown streak as well. Rashad White is another one you can go with. And I was telling somebody not too long ago, Cade Otton is not a terrible one. I could see him randomly catching a touchdown. So that's all I have for the Bucs and the Panthers. Going into the Browns and the Rams game, I'm going with the Rams. So I went with the Rams, but here's the crazy thing. I'm going with the Rams, but I see plus 3.5 for the Browns. You can get away with in this one. So Browns, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Dorian Thompson-Robinson or it's going to be Joe Flacco. If it's Joe Flacco, you can play Amari Cooper or you can play David Njoku. If it's DTR, I don't know. I would just stick with the run game of Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford. Going to the Rams side, Kyren Williams. It doesn't really matter the matchup. I'm forever and always going with Kyren Williams, no matter what. So that's what I would do with that side. The receivers, we have to see how that's going to go. Not too sure about that because Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp did not have a great couple of last weeks. And we have to see what Matthew Stafford's going to do. But until then, you're still rolling Puka Nacua out. I have to see a little bit with Cooper Kupp because his numbers have not been the highest. The next game we have is those are two good games. The 49ers and the Eagles, I'm going with the 49ers. I think this is a revenge game for the 49ers, and I think they will do well in this one. For the 49ers, you're rolling out all your 49ers. You're rolling out CMC. You're rolling out George Kittle. You're rolling out Deebo Samuel. You're rolling out Brandon Ayuk. So, yeah, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, CMC, rolling out the four of them. Reason why I'm also going with the money line in this one is when the five of them are combined, the four that I named and also Brock Purdy, they are undefeated since Brock Purdy has come in the league. The one game, some people might argue and say, yeah, well, no, this, that. Brock Purdy got injured, so he didn't play the whole game, so you can't count those games. So I'm going with the 49ers. On the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, you're playing. DeAndre Swift, you're playing. A.J. Brown, you're playing. Devontae Smith, you're playing. That's the game. Like, that 425 game is going to be a lit game. And then going into the next one, we have the Chiefs and the Packers. The Chiefs, of course, I'm taking that. So I'm taking the Chiefs at -6. I think they can cover that. And on the Chiefs side, Travis Kelce, you're going with Isaiah Pacheco, you're going with Rashee Rice. I will say you could play Rashee Rice in this game too. Do not also be surprised if Rashee Rice gets a touchdown as well. But those are my ones that I am playing. I would also say roll out Patrick Mahomes. For the Packers, you're rolling out Christian Watson. If L'Jarius Sneed or whoever is going to be covering Christian Watson doesn't necessarily shadow him the whole time, you could see that he could end up doing well. Christian Watson, Jalen Reed is another one that can do well. I'm not trusting the running backs right now. And kind of going into the final game, the Monday Night Football game, you have the Bengals and the Jaguars. I'm going with the Jaguars at this point in time. They're also highly favored, -430, so you don't even want to play those odds. -8.5 is pretty high because they did just struggle a couple of weeks ago. Jaguars aren't the elite of the elite in the AFC, so I wouldn't pick them at that -8.5, but I will go with them to win the game. Bengals, you're only rolling out Jamar Chase. Joe Mixon might be able to get you a touchdown, which is 7 points. I don't know about the Bengals right now. They went the wrong way super fast. T. Higgins might be able to play in the game. I don't know. That's a tough one. Whereas on the other side, the Jaguars, you're putting out Travis Etienne, you're putting out Christian Kirk, you're putting out Calvin Ridley, and that's kind of where it's going to go. Some things I want to let everyone know. So you have 2 weeks left before the playoffs happen. So that's something that's important and big that I think people should pay attention to. The other thing people should pay attention to is look at who's on the waivers. I think that that's really important. And I know that a lot of people need to start focusing on that point too. Also look at weeks ahead. So what defenses are you going to need? What running backs are going to be of importance that you probably want to take in? What wide receivers do you want? What tight ends are going to be out there? So I'll just, for example, Tank Dell was on the market, and I thought I'd be able to scoop Tank Dell up for 30 fantasy fab dollars. Didn't get him because someone else in the league ended up putting up 41. So that's kind of things you need to think about. But in another league, just to give you an example, you'll see like defenses, like the Chargers defense is out there, the Rams defense is out there. And why is the Chargers defense out there? Because someone picked up the Atlanta defense. Then another one is Juwan Johnson got picked up. Chris Godwin was deleted to the waivers. Derek Carr was picked up. So Russell Wilson got picked up. You're trying to figure out different players, not necessarily just for this 1 week, but you're figuring out for weeks to go ahead. And I think that's the main things I want to talk about. Start looking at backups as well. If you have that 1 or 2 spots that are there, you might need them. What if, for example, Derrick Henry gets injured? All right, do you have Tajay Spears? What if, I was going to say David Montgomery, but Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are both taken. What if you had Brian Robinson? Brian Robinson goes down. Do you have Antonio Gibson? The Dolphins running backs, you can't even worry about. What if Jonte Williams goes down? Do you have Jaleel McLaughlin? What if something happens to Devin Singletary? Do you have Dameon Pierce? You're not doing anything about the Panthers. The Bucks, it's not great of a situation. Tampa's not even winning all the games. So I don't know if you necessarily want to go there. The Rams do have a good one, but I think if Kyren Williams gets injured, then you're going right back to Darrell Henderson. For the 49ers, you want Elijah Mitchell. I think that's someone that you all need to focus on. The Eagles, you don't really know who they're running back behind DeAndre Swift is going to be. They have so many back there. Rashad Penny, you have Kenny Gainwell, you have Boston Scott. So even Kansas City, there was a point where Clyde Edwards-Helaire was that top dog, and it's Isaiah Pacheco now. And then you have Jerick McKinnon that's there too. So you really don't know. Aaron Jones, you thought it was going to be A.J. Dillon, and it's not A.J. Dillon right now. And then Tank Bigsby is going to be the one if Travis Etienne ever goes down. So these are all different names you need to focus on. Again, good luck to everybody out there. I think this is an important week for everyone in terms of fantasy football land. Until next week, good luck. I will come back to you guys with the different picks that I have and let you all know. This is Hayes, AO Shifty. We out.